5 things that make people instantly like you. Not tricks, not charisma. 5 specific tested moves, and the research behind why each one works. Here's why this matters more than it sounds like it should. Likability isn't just a nice-to-have at parties. Studies on hiring and promotion decisions find that when 2 candidates are roughly matched on competence, the more likable one gets the job, the raise, the introduction to someone useful. We like to think we're evaluated purely on merit. Mostly, we're evaluated on merit plus, whether people enjoyed being around us while we demonstrated it. That second part is trainable, and almost nobody trains it deliberately. Quick warning first, because it changes everything about how you should think about this topic. Forget mirroring their body language. That idea got huge online. Cross your arms if they cross theirs. Lean in when they lean in. But the research behind it is far weaker than people claim. The original studies were small, and some of the newer, better-controlled replications find little to nothing. Worse, when people consciously try to mirror someone, it often reads as exactly what it is: mimicry, which makes them like you less, not more. If you've been subtly copying people's posture at parties, you can stop. It's not doing what you think it's doing, and it's taking up attention you could be spending on something that actually works. What actually moves the needle is simpler than a trick, and it holds up across dozens of independent studies, not one viral claim. Here it is. 1. Ask the second question. Almost everyone asks what you do for work. Almost nobody asks the follow-up. Researchers at Harvard ran a series of speed dating and online conversation studies and found something consistent. People who ask more follow-up questions are rated as significantly more likable by their conversation partner, even when everything else about the conversation is identical. It's not about being clever. A follow-up question is proof you were actually listening to the first answer, not just waiting for your turn to talk. Most people treat a conversation like a list of questions to get through. Ask, answer, next question. That reads as an interview, not a conversation. Next time someone answers a question, don't move on. Ask one more thing about what they just said, even something as simple as, "What made you get into that?" That's the whole technique, and it costs you nothing. 2. Let them do the talking. Brain imaging research out of Harvard found that talking about yourself activates the same reward circuits in your brain as food or money. People are, quite literally, wired to enjoy talking about themselves, which means you don't need to be interesting in a conversation. You need to make the other person feel interesting. Ask about their week, their opinion, their story, and then actually let them finish it. You'll walk away rated as a great conversationalist, and you'll have said almost nothing. Watch how most people actually behave in a group. The moment someone finishes a story, the next person jumps in with their own version of it. "Oh, that reminds me of the time I..." And the spotlight moves before the first-person story has even finished landing. That's not malicious, it's just habit. Break it once and people notice. Ask a follow-up instead of topping the story, and you become the person people want to sit next to. 3. Say the warm thing out loud. This one has a name. Psychologists call it the liking gap. Across multiple studies, people consistently underestimate how much the person they just talked to enjoyed the conversation. You probably do this too. That compliment you're thinking but not saying. "I really enjoyed talking to you." You're easy to talk to. They cannot hear a thought. Say it out loud. It costs you nothing, and it closes a gap most people don't even know exists. This shows up constantly after networking events and first meetings. Both people walk away thinking it went fine, maybe even well, but neither says so. And because neither says so, neither one follows up. A one-line text afterward, "Good chatting today," closes a gap that would otherwise just sit there unspoken, on both sides, indefinitely. 4. Give something small away first. A mild opinion, a slightly awkward story about yourself. Nothing that puts you at risk, just something a little bit real. Research on self-disclosure, going back to the famous Fast Friends studies, suggests small, escalating personal disclosure is one of the fastest routes to closeness between two people. Here's the mechanism. Your small risk gives the other person permission to take one too. Conversations stay shallow because both people are waiting for the other to go first, playing it safe, keeping everything at surface level. Small talk about the weather, about traffic, about nothing. Someone has to break that pattern. It doesn't have to be a big reveal. Honestly, I was nervous about this meeting is enough to shift the whole tone. Go first. 5. Just show up again. This is one of the most replicated findings in all of social psychology, the mere exposure effect. Familiarity alone increases liking, even without a single new interaction. The same face at the same gym, the same coworker in the same meetings, the same neighbor at the same time each week. Familiarity does quiet work in the background. It means being around consistently beats being impressive once. You don't have to win people over in one big moment. You just have to keep showing up. It's why the quiet person who shows up to every meeting, every week, for a year, ends up more trusted than the person who makes one brilliant impression and then disappears for a month. Consistency is doing work that talent alone can't. So here's the recap. Ask the second question. Let them talk. Say the warm thing. Go first with something small, and show up again. None of it is charisma, and none of it is a trick you perform on someone. It's attention, warmth, and repetition. In that order, every time. And they stack. You don't need all 5 in a single conversation to see a difference. Most people notice a shift from doing just one of these consistently. But if you're picking a starting point, start with the follow-up question. It's the lowest effort, highest return move on this list, and it makes every other technique easier. Because a real follow-up question is also how you find out what small thing is worth disclosing and what's actually worth complimenting out loud. Which one are you trying this week? Tell me in the comments, and follow Own the Room for daily psychology you can actually use.